All right, so you're thinking about moving to Michigan and you want to know the 5 things that your realtor won't tell you before moving to Michigan. Well, if that interests you guys, stick around because we're getting into all of that right now. Hey, if you're new to this channel and you guys want to know everything there is to know about living here in Michigan, then go ahead and subscribe and tap that little bell so you're the first to learn about the current market right here in Michigan. Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Meldrum. I make videos just like this, and this is what this channel is all about: living in Michigan, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm born and raised in Michigan. I've been a Michigander my whole entire life. I moved out of the state once, and we came back because it's so awesome. So I know a thing or two about leaving. We lived in Irvine for about a year and then came back to Michigan. So if you're considering making a move in 1 week or 1 year from now, don't hesitate to get a hold of us. All my contact information is in the description below. And hey, we're a full-time real estate team here, and we've helped hundreds of people just like you make that move to Michigan. So go ahead, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. And as always, we'd be happy to help you make a smooth move here to Michigan and anywhere you're going. And if we don't service the area, we will find you an agent who can help right away. All right, so you guys want to know the 5 things that your realtor won't tell you about moving to Michigan? Well, I'm going to tell you all of those things. They're no secret. You guys should know this anyways when moving to Michigan. And I guess since I'm telling you, I guess by default, that makes me your realtor. And let's get into this list right now. All right, so first thing on the list, most realtors will not tell you, is when you are looking for a home here in Michigan, if you are looking for a house with a pool above ground or in ground, just know this is not great for resale value. Now, if you've seen homes that have been on the market for 30, 40, 60, even 90 days, and they have a pool, that is exactly why they've been on the market. A lot of people here don't want the hassle of a pool. It's not like most other states where having a pool can increase your home's value. Living in Florida or California, pools are part of the outside, landscaping. They can increase the value quite a bit, and they're really cool. I mean, I've seen some amazing outdoor, masterpieces with pools at the centerpiece, lounging. But here in Michigan, they can be a burden. Now, remember, we got winters here in Michigan. So during the winter, you got to winterize the pool. And then during the spring, you got to open it back up, do all those chemicals in the pool. I'm not a pool guy. I'd rather just go to the lake, enjoy boat life. But yeah, I mean, if you're into pools, just know that it's not going to increase the value, and it's something that's going to be a little bit more difficult to sell in the long run. All right, and that brings us to our second point. When I tell you that the winters here in Michigan are no joke, guys, I am not kidding. Having grown up in Michigan my whole entire life, I still complain about the winters every single year. Eventually, we'll be out of here. We'll be snowbirds. We'll be living in Florida for the winter months. But believe me, the winter comes fast and furious, even if there is not a lot of snow. I mean, there's winters where we have quite a bit of snow, not a lot of snow, just ebbs and flows, so you never know what kind of winter you're going to get, but it still gets bitter cold. I remember being outside as a kid. I loved it. Growing up in Michigan, being able to have snowball fights, build snowmen, just run around, with friends out in the snow. It was awesome. So those childhood memories are unforgettable. You guys will love that. If you guys are raising a family here, that's something that I think they're going to really enjoy. But believe me, it does not get any easier. Driving in the winter, I don't know what it is about people in Michigan. Every single winter, we just forget how to drive. People are just like, I don't know what it is. People just forget how to drive. So what I'd recommend you do is, if you've never driven in Michigan, go to an open parking lot, pump the brakes in the snow, and just feel the slide. And you'll know braking at that speed needs to occur a lot sooner than you really think. So that's my recommendation for you guys. But this is something that I don't think a lot of people prepare anybody for. If you don't have winter coats, you don't have winter gear, and you're moving to Michigan, go start shopping because you're going to need some warm clothes. All right, so next up on the list, when you're moving to Michigan, you have some budget in mind. Now, people have told you living in the Midwest, I'm sure, is super affordable, and that might be one of the reasons you're moving to Michigan in the first place. But not all areas in Michigan are as affordable as you would think. Now, as of today, the average housing cost here in Michigan is around $234,000. The national average is around $350,000. So from a scale of national to local level, we are under the median. Housing affordability is a little bit lower here in Michigan, but that's because the state of Michigan is so big. All right, so if you look at the mitten here, and this is how we tell everybody to get around, and then you have the UP we got a lot of land. So when you take the per capita, housing cost and look at it overall, yes, houses are cheap. And then you throw in the city like Detroit, where houses are selling for $20,000, $30,000, and they've been selling like this, for the past decade. The housing prices tend to average downward. But if you're going to be living in any Metro Detroit city, such as Birmingham, West Bloomfield, Ann Arbor, Brighton, Heartland, like most of those major metropolitan cities, the average is going to be well above that. So where we are here in Brighton, average home value is around $374,000. Ann Arbor is about $424,000, and then you got cities like Bloomfield, which is around $390,000. You got cities like Birmingham, which is going to be around $434,000. So as you can see, they jump around a lot just depending on what city you want to be in and how closely you want to be to, some downtown areas. So it's all lifestyle. So if you got questions about any of that, drop it in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer those and get those questions answered for you. All right. So I know one of the things that realtors are not talking about when moving to Michigan is what the heck a Michigan basement is. Now, being in a state that where you might not have basements, you might be coming from a state like California or Florida where basements don't even exist. Well, here in Michigan, guys, we got winter. We just talked about it. We got a ton of winter gear. We got a ton of decorations for the holidays. We got a lot of stuff. And when you have a basement, that space is going to fill up. So storage becomes a big thing in basements. Now, you might be asking yourself, what the heck is a Michigan basement and how is that different from just a regular basement altogether? Well, a Michigan basement is actually a basement that was dug out of a crawl space. And when we started putting, HVAC systems and hot water tanks in houses, they needed extra room for storage and all of these different areas to put the mechanicals for the house. So they started digging what's called Michigan basements. And these are primarily built, out of stone to reinforce the wall. Some of the floors might even be dirt. That's a lot of like old school Michigan basements. But mainly they poured concrete down there to kind of level it all off and make sure, it has a concrete footing, on the bottom. But that differs from a regular Michigan basement and a livable basement, whereas the Michigan basement is going to be a couple feet tall, just mainly there for mechanicals, storage, and a livable Michigan basement is going to be something that you can finish off, typically about 8 to 10 feet tall ceilings. You can drywall them, you can put, flooring down there, and it's an extra living space. So that's really cool. If you're going to be living here in Michigan, you've never had a basement before, just think of it as an additional living space in your home. So if you're going to be living in maybe 1,100 square foot ranch style home and that has a finished basement, you basically have a carbon copy on the lower level where you can do pretty much anything you want, right? Finish it off, put a bar down there, put a game room, put, a movie theater down there. You got 1,100 square feet of open concept to just do whatever you want. And that's the cool thing about basements here in Michigan. All right, so you might be thinking about moving to Michigan and Detroit might be on your list. Now, one of the things realtors won't tell you about moving to Michigan and Detroit is super big, guys. So if you're thinking about moving to Detroit, you got to know the lay of the land. You got to know what areas are up and coming, what areas are safe, what areas, you're going to want to gravitate towards. And then on top of that, we have what's called Metro Detroit. So these are all the suburbs of Detroit. And if you look at Detroit on a map, Detroit's huge. I mean, it's 142 square miles. You can literally fit San Francisco, Boston, and Manhattan into Detroit from a square mile perspective. And even then, you still haven't touched every square mile of the city. Those are just major cities that you can fit into Detroit. Now, if you're going to be living in Detroit, you're going to want to know some of the best areas. So just know that not every place in Detroit is going to be somewhere you'd want to live. There's still a lot of rough parts of Detroit. Detroit's on the up and come. It's still being rebuilt. And when we talk about the revitalization in Detroit, we've got 142 square miles to cover, and they have touched about this much of it, right? It started with downtown, some of the areas like Midtown, Corktown. Those areas have started to see some turnaround with some condos, but single family homes, there's still a lot of vacant land down there. There's a lot of rebuilding to be done. So make sure you're talking to the right people, when moving to Detroit. If you're going to be looking to move downtown, give us a call. We're very familiar with that. We have all the information on a lot of the new projects that are coming up. So we're tight with the builders. We're tight with all those people down there. So just reach out, feel free to ask us. But that's one of the big common mistakes that I see a lot of people make when moving to Michigan is that, hey, I'm going to move to Detroit. And then they just get super overwhelmed with all the information. We can sit down and distill it down into some very simple things to understand about what parts of the city are really good and what parts of the city you definitely want to stay away from. So that's Detroit in a nutshell. San Francisco, Manhattan, Boston, they're all fitting in there in that little nutshell. But yeah, it's a big city, but just ask us. Happy to help. All right, so if your realtor has not sat down with you and talked about all of these things, well, you got to get a new realtor. And guess what? Just give us a call. We'd be happy to help. We help people just like you every single day. But more importantly, these are the things that you should be thinking about when moving to Michigan. We know that. We've seen it. We've done it. We've helped so many of you guys move here to Michigan, and we want to continue helping you guys make some educated decisions on where the best place for you in the mitten is. So if you have questions, drop in the comments below, or better yet, feel free to reach out. All of our contact information is in the description below. Whether you're moving in 1 week or 1 year from now, we're always happy to help. So until next time, go check out these other videos that we made all about Michigan, all about the cities around here. And on the next one, we will catch you guys later. Peace.